Yo, 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 yo. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Unprofessional Breakdown. And I got the one and only, the young professor. How you doing, man?
Lou, I'm doing good, man. How are you? See, you caught me. I figured I'd be ready for this. I wrote some things down, things I wanted to say, things I wanted to do, and I don't
It's all
have them.
good.
I had a whole rhyme. I had a whole rhyme about the man in yellow, that dapper fellow. Make
Oh
the
no.
promoters say hello.
Oh man, that
David
feud is
Van Auken
crazy.
is mellow.
The
It was
fight
something along those
bananas.
lines. Yeah, yeah,
Hey, did he start it or what? Who started it? He cuz you was rocking the yellow. You was rocking them
yeah.
the yellow at
Which
the last combat night show, and I kept commenting on your shoes, man. You were killing it with your shoes, but then he had some slick remarks. Like, what happened there with that?
I guess he's mad because he used to do what I do once upon a time. He might be a little salty. He got replaced.
Oh man,
Little salt on the banana. I don't know, but that's not the first time I've worn yellow. It's the first time I've worn it for combat night. I try to vary up the outfits for each and every event.
yeah,
Kind of keep a different look, different. It's one of those just a little inside thing. I mean, people are there for the fights, but it's entertainment. So
it is,
try to
man.
add to that.
I
And I
love it. And
guess
David's a good guy, man. I got no beef with you,
he
David. You're the
seems like
man,
look,
bro.
he's
Fight
he's a
bananas.
dad. He's a dad. I'm a dad. Like I get it. You got to hustle. You got to grind. But like then he's coming at me about yellow. But dude's never even wearing yellow. So you know what? I'm in yellow. I'm suited and booted, head to toe in yellow. I got the yellow shoes. I got yellow masks. I got yellow shirts. I got
Yellow
more
everything.
yellow shirts. I got more yellow shirts. Like
Oh man.
what? Like coming at me like I'm copping on somebody's style. Look, I'm not. I didn't invent bright colors. I didn't invent being an announcer wearing interesting clothing. We've all seen Bruce Buffer. We know what a lot of those guys do. But
Yeah, yeah.
to be insulted like that is it's interesting. It's interesting. I don't know where the heat came from, but
But it's good though. It's good to I love y'all promos, man. Y'all back and forth promos is off the hook, man. And I'm a wrestling fan, and I love it. He's a wrestling fan. I know you're a wrestling fan as well. But first I want to say congratulations. You got a nice little gig with Combat Night. How
thank
did that
you.
come about?
So today we're recording this on Monday night. It's the 22nd, but tomorrow is February 23rd. And February 23rd marks my 2-year anniversary of when I officially started with Combat Night for the first time. And I got
Nice.
so lucky to get that spot because as a ring announcer in any sport, I was only about 1 year, like 13 months into the business. And I actually was just trying to get more out there. I was working in professional wrestling and really was working with a school in Daytona Beach. And that's kind of where I was almost exclusively for the first year. But they ran weekly. So I got a chance to get a lot of practice. And I mean, like a lot of practice. And so I got pretty good at my job in a relatively short period of time because I got so many reps. And actually, I was in Las Vegas at the time. I was doing a seminar and tryout with Impact Wrestling. They were doing a taping out in Vegas.
Nice.
Yeah, they were taking a look at ring announcers and stuff too, or at least they said they were. They definitely had the guy they already wanted there, so I guess they just wanted my money. But you know what?
Ooh.
It was a learning experience. It was a chance for me to be a guy who was a year in the business to go out and get seen by other people. And I know I impressed because I had coaches and stuff pull me aside. We're like, did they bring you in? Like, because it looks like you're here to show people how this is done. And I was like, no, I'm like brand new and I don't know anybody here. And I'm just,
That's
on a
awesome.
wing and a prayer. But while I was out there and listening to some of the wisdom of people just like, hey, hitting up promoters and stuff, I was, at the time going, all right, I work wrestling. Actually, I had already worked one season with the Jacksonville Sharks, the arena football team, as
Yeah,
their
that's cool.
MC. So that's more sports, but I was like, I want to work in MMA. I want to work in boxing because the job is kind of the same. Like it's a little different
Hmm.
flavor, but the skill set's the same and the presentation is the same. And I hit up Mitchell, who had a show like 2 weeks later and was like, actually, we're looking for a ring announcer. You got any footage? I happen to have some footage. I sent it to him. He was like, hey, we're gonna be down in Fort Lauderdale, and I was like, I will be there. I will make it,
That's
and
awesome.
impressed. And we've been ripping ever since. In 2020, even though it was kind of a slower year, with the exception of the last show in 2020, which I wound up getting sick for. It's the only reason I missed it. I worked every single event that Combat Night did, And heading into this year, Mitchell hit me up recently and was like, "Look, we love what you do. You've been with us a while now. We kind of want to make it exclusive. We want to make it official, and we want to offer you a position to be with us and be our guy. And in this
I
way,
like
you
that.
become officially part of the Combat Night family." And I've had a chance to work a bunch of places, and I've got to say, Combat Night is first rate, classy as hell. They take care of their people. There's no
Yes, they
nonsense,
do.
no BS, and very professional. And one thing I also like about Mitchell, and this is not to blow smoke up his ass or anything like that, he is one of the very few people who will chew me out about things. And not to say that I'm great, like I try to do a good job, but I feel like I'm always looking for feedback. I always want to get better at my job, and I always go out. And a lot of people don't pay attention to their ring announcers. It's a job, and somebody does it. And if it's
Yeah.
good, it's great. And if
Yep.
it's not good, you notice. But if it's good, you don't notice. But Mitchell would be one of those guys that would be like, "Hey, I need this. Don't do this again. Fix this. Speed this up." And that dude, single handedly, more than any other promoter I've worked with, and it's no shade to anybody else, has made me better. So for him to come to me and say, "Hey, I respect your work. I want you as part of my family, this company that I have built," it's a no brainer, man. I'm happy to join the family.
Yeah, and I've known Mitchell for many, 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 many years, and he tells it how it is, just like the Aaron Neville song. But he I love music, but he tells it how it is, man, and he tells you straight up. That's why he's so successful. That's why Combat Night, from when I remember when they first came on to where they are now, is just in the league of their own when it comes to the local or even state. The state of Florida, they're the top of the line. And there's other promotions out there that are great, but I think his professionalism and his realism is everything. No bitch assness. Him, Richard Cox, Ramsey, and all the other guys. All the staff, the Combat Night staff, and yeah, they welcomed us, man. I got a nice little gig. You got a gig, man. And but I want to rewind a little bit. You said that you
Sure.
were teaching. So that's where your name comes from, the young professor. You were or are you still an actual professor?
So I'm a high school teacher now. So I still profess,
Nice.
but I'm not an official professor anymore. But for 7.5 years, I was.
That's
And
cool, man.
yeah, so a lot, like, even Mitchell recently, we were talking, he was like, "I didn't even know, like, where that name came from." Like, it just seemed like it was like a nickname, like, "Oh, why does an announcer need a nickname?" And I was like, "No, it's not. It's more of a description of what I was." Like, my real name's Matt, which I like my name. My name's good. It's been good to me, but my name isn't
Yeah.
very memorable. And
Yeah.
when I used to just be Matt, and I was a trivia host years ago before I was even doing any of the stuff in combat sports or sports in general, like, Matt, the trivia guy, was good, but he was just some dude that showed up at bars and played.
Yeah.
Once I
Yeah.
was like, "All right, I need something else here." Being a wrestling fan, I was like, "I know gimmicks work. I know gimmicks sell. What can I
They
do that's
do.
still me?" And I came up with this. I mean, I was a young professor. I started when I was 25 years old. That's how old I was when I did it. Most of my students were older than me. So, yeah, true story. And
That's awesome.
and I was like, "All right, professor," and asking questions and like tests and like, so that'll work. And once I kind of built that brand and started working into sports, I was like, well, this brand is working for me. I want to kind of cross over with as much as I could. And so the name just stuck and stuck with me. And I've got a bunch of stuff that goes with it. And it's what people remember. Because if you're Matt, you're Mike, or you're Mark, or you're just whatever M name that people can think of, they don't remember. But the professor stands out a little bit. And so that's why that's the name I use in public.
And you definitely stand out. You have a great voice, you have great suits, and the name, the young professor. Like everybody's gonna remember that. Oh, the announcer with the dope ass suit, man. He's gonna be there again. That's great. So it's a personality, and you're right. Gimmicks do work, man. And being I don't watch wrestling like I used to, but I try to stay, intact with it. The Miz just won the belt, which is pretty cool. It's pretty
He did
awesome.
last night. Yes,
They
he
they've
did.
been they've been trying to put the strap back on him for a couple more than a couple years now. I'm so glad that he finally got the belt again, man, and
Think
hopefully
it's
he
been
keeps
like
it for a
10
long
years.
time.
I think it's been like 10 years since his, because I moved to Florida in 2010, and I think it was the end of 2010 when he won the belt the first and only time. So for him to get it back now, I think it's great. I'm interested to see where it goes. I've always enjoyed the entertainment value of
Yeah,
wrestling.
me
I mean,
too.
that's what that for me.
Well, I love the entertainment, but I like more of the chain wrestling. Like one of my favorite wrestlers in the '90s, Bret Hart was the man. I like Bret Hart, and then I like Sting. And then there's guys like Dean Malenko and these other guys that are just great technical wrestlers, and that's what drew me. Being a small guy, I'm a little guy. That's what drew me. And then the Rocks and the Stone Colds, this just the whole Attitude Era.
Personality,
But
charisma.
yeah,
Um, well, you look at that too. I mean, and it crosses over because you look at some
it
of the
does.
most successful names in even MMA. They're pro wrestling. They are like they may not be pro wrestlers, but they understand the mentality of what actually made pro wrestling big back in its heyday. Like
Yeah,
that trash talk and that entertainment and giving somebody that they love to hate. Floyd Mayweather as a boxer gets it too. He
yeah,
loves when
absolutely.
people hate him because people tune in to see him and that lines his pockets. And that's what it's all about is making
And
money and
yeah,
making a
making
buzz for
money,
your
bringing seats, bringing views.
right.
Putting butts in seats. Chael Sonnen, in MMA was the one that really said, you know what, I'm gonna adopt this gimmick. And he reached out to some wrestlers, pro wrestlers at the time, and they were helping him how to do promos and all that shit. Like when he won, and he goes, Anderson Silva, you absolutely suck. I was like, whoa, what the hell? That was a hell of a promo, and the crowd ate it up. They
Because it
ate
was
it up.
different. It was
It
different.
was
Nobody
very
was
different.
doing it. And it created a buzz. And so, I mean, yeah, you gotta have the stake too, right? Like you've got to be
Yeah.
talented. You've got to have ability. You have to be able to
Yep.
fight and win
Absolutely.
and whoop some ass while you're in there. But, but if you can add that sizzle, that little thing that when you come through the gate and people go, "Ooh, what is that? What are they having?" That sizzle.
Yeah.
That's what that is. That's what those promos are. That's what all those, the stuff at the press conferences. I think Conor McGregor does it better than anybody. That guy's got everybody buzzing with everything he does.
Combat Night, March 13th. Can you give us a sneak peek, a peek of what you got, what you got planned, what you gonna rock, man? I think we all wondering like, yo, what you got rock? Can you just
Yeah,
sneak
yeah.
peek or what? You still working on it?
Well, I tell you what, one of the things like I've started doing, and it might seem, I don't know, I mean, it's unprofessional breakdown, but like
It's unprofessional.
I'm clearly in my closet right now, right? Like, and that's
Yeah.
for well, it's for two reasons. In terms of like I've told you before, I've got four kids, I've got a
Yeah.
busy house. It's not like I have a ton of space to go. My closet is actually pretty spacious, and when I'm surrounded by all my clothes and stuff, it actually gives me really good sound quality when I do
Yep.
podcasts.
And
So that's one reason.
yep.
But the other reason is because of what I've built of my own, character and gimmick is my wardrobe. And I like even shirts like this that don't like this. And like when I wear this to school, like as a school teacher, and I've got a matching mask and shirt, all the kids are like, yo, I like your fit. And it's every day. It's one of those things that like my closet has become the topic of conversation wherever I go. So it kind of makes a little sense to me to do some shows and be in my closet so people maybe get a little sneak peek of some of the stuff
I
I
dig
got
it.
going on.
You
Even though
you
I actually keep my suits in a different closet, I have like I had to build out space in our garage because I have more clothes than my wife. It's embarrassing. I
It's
should
all
not
good,
admit
man. Well, you're the young
that.
professor, man. You're the young professor. Yo, quick,
It's
what subjects do you teach, man? Do what, are you history or what?
So right now I am a social studies teacher. I'm teaching American history, I'm teaching world
Nice.
history, and I'm teaching psychology. My first degree was actually in psychology. But my master's degree that allowed me to become a professor was actually in kinesiology. But it was more of a sport and exercise behavior. So sport and exercise science, sports psych type degree. But I actually taught in the field of exercise science for 7.5 years. And I taught everything from sports marketing, sports business management, down to personal training certification courses, group fitness certification courses, even biomechanics, teaching people like physics for your body.
Yeah.
And so I've taught a lot of different things. And so having sports and we do injury prevention, injury management. My students would always like to go and look at like some good, brutal, gnarly MMA injuries, and they'd have to analyze it, break it down, talk about mechanisms of injury. Actually, one of my guys, his name's Edwin Lopez. I think he goes by Ant Lopez. He's up out of Jacksonville. I forget I forget what gym he trains at, but he's a big MMA guy. And when we're up in Jacksonville, he comes out to see me, and he's
Cool.
one of my old students. But like we were talking about like rhabdomyolysis, like if you work your muscles too hard, too intensely, you can actually tear them so much that some of the lactic acid starts leaking out into your bloodstream and can actually poison you and get sick. We were
Oh
talking
shoot.
about it, and then he trained so hard at one of his nights that he actually got it like two
Oh
days
wow.
later and was in the hospital. Came in and was like, Yo, I swear I should have listened to y'all when you were talking about how far you can go.
Wow, that's
We're like,
yeah,
it's
that's
not
crazy.
just books, man. It's not just books. This is real life. This is what we're talking about here. So, yeah, I've had some interesting stuff to teach along the way.
Yeah, man. When I was in high school, I graduated high school, but like my senior year in high school, I had to make up a lot of classes, like English 1, English 2 and all this stuff cuz
Yep.
being a kid and in not a very good area and you it's just a prototype, right? But
Right.
I remember there's specific teachers that I still talk to till this day that I thank them, they were different, like they really caught my attention. They did something and I would sit back and I'm like, "Damn, this guy really cares about me." Or this, Miss Letters, that's one of my old teacher's good friend of mine. Man, she really cares about me. She wants me to graduate and move forward in life. You know what? I'm gonna get my shit together. I'm gonna start paying attention. I would sit in the front of the class, and I graduated high school. When everybody never thought I didn't go to college. But I graduated high school, and the only one in my family to graduate high school and walk across the stage and get the diploma the right way, because you know it's just my beginnings, my humble beginnings, and all that stuff. But
Right.
I like that because it catches that kids, these kids and society is crazy, man. And sometimes kids want to follow what other people do, and they get caught up in a lot of craziness and stuff like that. But to have somebody like yourself that's in there trying to help the education, trying to help these young kids move forward in life and make at least class fun, that's awesome, man. We need more teachers like that, definitely. So props to you, brother. That's that's awesome that you try to make it fun for these kids, to stand out more, to open up their ears and their minds to you, man. And hopefully they can look back and say, man, yeah, the young professor, man, he was a great teacher, man, and I'm here because of him. Because I find myself doing that. You know, I'm in a place in my life where I never thought I'd be, and I reach out to my teachers and, yo, this is because of you. You helped me. Um, you helped me pass the FCAT, or you helped me with this, you helped me with that, and thank you. So they're like, oh man, thank you. I love you and your family and all that stuff. So it's good, man, to have folks like yourself, man, great teachers out there that really care about the students.
I appreciate that, man. And like, it's one of those things where like I'm being in high school now. It's my first year doing it. Like my whole last year of my life has been crazy with COVID and all that stuff. So
Yeah,
winding up
yeah.
back in the classroom was almost a surprise, but I'm grateful to be here. But I've seen that even in college, like some kids that I had and even adults that I've had that who have come back to me years later now and are like, I never forget what you said, or I never forget this thing that we did. And you'll never believe it, but I did this thing for my job the other day, and it's exactly like something we did back in class. And I just want to thank you for what we did. And that's something that truly is humbling. And a lot of people use that word, and it doesn't mean what you think it means because usually it's not, things are not humbling. They
Hmm.
build you up. But for somebody to come in and say like, "Hey, this thing helped me in my life," and meanwhile I was just doing it because I was like, I think this is what we're supposed to be doing. I'm trying to reach these people in a way that I can to know that like I've helped people be successful in their lives means a lot to me because I'm the first person in my family to graduate from college. Like,
That's cool.
and I've been fortunate enough to figure things out along the way. I didn't have anybody kind of showing me how it was done or anything. I've learned through hard work, and even more than the subjects that I teach, that's what I try to live and that's what I try to exemplify because that's what people see on my social media and everything is it's not necessarily the quality of my work. You watch it closely, I like to think that it's there, but it's like, man, that guy is out there busting his ass every day, every night. He's working shows 5, 6 days a week. He's got a family, he's got a wife. He tries to stay active, he tries to do good things for people. Like, he doesn't make excuses, he gets it done. And I think for my students, more than the work, like, okay, maybe you don't like learning about Western imperialism in the 1800s. All right, I
Yeah,
get it. You don't have to like it, but guess what?
you got
Real
to do it.
life, there's lots of stuff you don't like, and you got to figure out ways to get the job done, get the work done so that you can make stuff happen for you and your family. And I'll teach you that even more than I'm going to teach you about what these countries were doing in Europe 150 years ago. I wanted to be on your show for a couple of reasons. One, again, to kind of celebrate along with you because we both
Yes,
got
sir.
really like, hey, we are now official members of the Combat Night family.
Yep.
But also, being that I'm in the middle of this feud and being on your show, I wanted to unveil something that I'm going to be putting out there because one of his stable mates in Fight Bananas,
Hold on, don't
Lee.
don't don't say. Hold on, I got to put on something for this special occasion.
All
Hold on,
right,
give
all
me one
right, all right,
second.
all right.
I'm ready.
You are
I'm
ready.
ready.
So, being
Unveil it.
that Lisa with a Z put up a fan poll, which I thought for sure, because that was all his audience, that he was gonna win, and
Yeah.
that was gonna lead him to trash talking. I smoked him in terms of wearing yellow. I have a new sticker that I'm gonna be selling for everybody in the MMA community,
All
for just
right.
the official yellow fellow. That is me, the young professor. Never mind Fight Bananas. Never mind David Van Auken. If you want somebody in yellow that's gonna look good, for $1, we'll make you holler with some yellow fellow stickers from the sweetest voice in all of combat sports, the young professor. And you get the exclusive here on the Unprofessional Breakdown here as part of Combat Night's YouTube channel. Yes.
I dig it. And you know what? We're going to end it right there, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Man, thank you so much to Young Professor for talking to me for 20, 25, 30 minutes, man. And thank you very much. I'll see you March 13th, Combat Night, Orlando, for their amazing pro card. A lot of stack card. Great fights. Woo! I'm excited, baby.
Me too, man. Can't wait. Lou, thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for having me on.
Yes, sir. Good night, man.
Good
Peace.
night, brother.